economy. Countries across the globe now have a broad consensus that tourism development should be sustainable, and since there is no tourism without travel, therefore the concept of sustainable tourism is highly linked to the concept of sustainable mobility. Our esteemed speaker for this session are Mr. R.K. Suman, Dr. Tawfiq Abdul, and Professor Nawab Ali Khan. Mr. R.K. Suman, who is guest of honor for today's session, will be joining us very soon. Meanwhile, I would like to introduce our esteemed speakers for today. Mr. R.K. Suman is the Deputy Director General at Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Dr. Tawfiq Abdul is an Associate Professor at Department of Tourism Management, University of Burdwan, West Bengal, and Professor Nawab Ali Khan is Chairman at Department of Commerce, Aligarh Muslim University, India. I feel extremely honored to welcome you all. Now, I would request our first speaker to enlighten us with his thoughts on this topic. I request Dr. Tawfiq Abdul to please share his words of wisdom with the participants.
Good morning to everyone. It's my proud privilege to be here in this particular international webinar. So, hello, am I audible? Am I audible? Okay, so now I really grateful to Dr. Nandi and his expert team member for conducting this international webinar in this difficult situation in the world, in our country, and South Asia. Now, tourism is one of the prominent segment in the world economy and Indian economy. Tourism is playing an important role for development, for economic activities, for entrepreneurship, social and economic development, understanding between countries, exchange of thoughts between people to people, and it's an industry. This particular service sector is one of the pioneer segment of world economy. Nowadays, people are thinking about different segments of tourism. So sustainable tourism is one of the prominent sector in today's global perspective. I'm really thankful to the organizer and Dr. Nandi for selecting such a wonderful topic. And they have given me a responsibility to speak on sustainable tourism benchmarking tool. So first we should know sustainable tourism. So sustainable tourism, what is sustainable tourism? Sustainable development was defined as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Now, in the global perspective, the people needs are changing very fast. People, they don't want to confine themselves when they are going to a tour in a particular hotel or a particular room. They want to visit natural sites. It may be beach, it may be marine area, it may be coastal area, it may be wildlife, it may be forest, it may be natural beauty, scenic beauty. So different parameters are there. So these parameters are one of the important assets of tourism. So in this particular sustainable tourism benchmarking, there are different dimensions and indicators. What are these dimensions and indicators? First dimensions is tourism assets. So different country has different resources, different assets. These assets can be converted into tourism product. So tourism products, normally we identify two types: nature-based tourism product and culture-based tourism product. So nature-based tourism products includes different natural items scattered in different corners of the world. And cultural tourism products, the creation of human being in the form of customs, cultures, dance, drama, music, folk, etc., etc. So tourism assets are different types. The assets attract, it works as a magnet to attract people. The next activity or dimensions of tourism is tourism activity. Now, tourists, they are not confining themselves. They are working, they are actively participating in different activities. Then tourism related linkages. So now the today's tourism or the tourism activities, tourism industry needs the linkage of agriculture, fishery, industry, and other social activities and economic activities. And this is the need of the hour. And then tourism related linkages. Linkages and leakages. Leakages, we want to minimize the leakages. We have to maximize the linkages. Then environmental and social sustainability. So we have to sustain all aspects environmentally and socially. Then overall infrastructure, without infrastructure, we cannot think about tourism. So different types of infrastructure we have to provide, and then attractiveness. So on the basis of these dimensions and indicators of sustainable tourism benchmarking. Now, why benchmarking? Why we need benchmarking? First is performance improvement. So we have to improve the performance. Then creative thinking. So people as human being by the a gift of Almighty, by His word, by His intelligence. So human beings are creative. So this creative thinking is important. Then keep pace with science and technology. So what is happening in today's perspective, science and technology? Then we have to be serious about the expectations of the customers. What is the need and wants of the customers? Then cope with the competitive markets. Now, in this particular sustainable tourism and benchmarking, this particular thing, the customer's expectation is important. The beach of Kerala and beach of Goa is different. Beach of Tamil Nadu and beach of Karnataka is different. Beach of Odisha and the beach of Bengal is different. So if we analyze different tourism resources, we have to identify the customer expectations. Why the tourist or the Indian tourist or the European tourist, they want to visit Goa or the Goa's beach? Why they prefer the beaches of Kerala? Why the beaches of Marina Beach or Chennai? So we have to identify the customer expectations. Now, competitive market. So there is huge competition. Now, if you study South Asian's market of South Asia, particularly in tourism, so we have competitor, we have competed Malaysia, we have competed Thailand, we have competed in Singapore. So they have beautiful or plentiful beaches, coastal areas. So in India, if you find from West Bengal, Odisha, then Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, then Tamil Nadu, then Kerala, then Karnataka, then Maharashtra, Gujarat, and some islands, we have some beaches. So these beaches or the coastal areas is wonderful in terms of sustainable tourism, but these are unique, different, and it has different appeals to different types of tourists, different types of customers. So customer expectation is very important. Cope with competitive market. So without competition, we cannot think about any superior quality product. So if we want to provide best product, best beach, best marine drive, best coastal areas of our country, then we have to develop that type of resources, that type of product to market in the global market as well as in the domestic market. Then innovation in management methods. So innovation is a small term, but it's a huge meaning. So particularly in this particular theme, sustainable tourism and benchmarking, innovation, we need different types of innovations. Now, in this difficult time, This pandemic time, this or the global pandemic situation, what innovation we can put to market, even after the post corona period, how we can market our tourism resources, our different types of resources scattered in our country. So we have to put different innovation and then meeting the quality standards. Now people are conscious, they're very worried about the quality of tourism resources, tourism products, whether it's a sustainable tourism or any kind of tourism. Now I'll show you my slides. So sustainable tourism cut phrase for including the following issues: rural development, ecotourism, environmental impact, cultural and regional heritage, alternative tourism, indigenous people, wildlife, urban development. Now, so rural development. Rural development is a prominent aspect. Now, if you take example of Shantiniketan, it's about a page in Shantiniketan. So there is a small hut. Every Saturday and Sunday, people in Bengali, it's as they say, Shoni Barir Hat. It's a local market organized by the local handicraft producers, artisans. Now, how the local people, they are participating in daylight, and they are marketing their handicraft, of the different artists, and people are coming to this particular hut, particularly in Saturday and Sunday. Not only in Shantiniketan, in Midnapur, there is a place called Shobong. There is a place called Pingla. There you will find different types of handicraft product. In district of Bankura, there is a place called a small village near Bakura town. So they are producing different types of local handicrafts. In Bardhaman district, there is a village, Dariyapur. So people are producing different types of dokra items. In Purulia, in Bakura, people are making different types of handicrafts. And through these activities, so rural development, people are getting money, people are getting participations, people are showing their product, local product, through rural tourism. Now Government of India, they have taken an initiative for rural development and tourism and rural development. So pro tourism concept is there. Now heritage aspects. So cultural heritage, resources, India is a country of culture. India is a country of heritage. So we have history, we have heritage, we have handicraft, we have habitat, we have hospitality. So all these aspects we have in the entire nation, whether it's in North India or in South India or Western India or in Eastern India or in Northeast. In the entire country, we have beautiful heritage sites. We have wonderful, historical products, monuments, buildings, palaces, forts, museum, and other aspects which cater the needs of the heritage tourism or heritage tourist. So in that way, so sustainable tourism is important. Now, so why sustainable tourism is important? It's a useful tool for decision makers, researchers, and business operators. So why decision makers? So decision makers, they have to identify the tourism resources, that which particular resources is particular, attractive for market. Shantiniketan is one resource, Bakura has one resource, Murshidabad has one resource, Kuchbihar has another resource, Darjeeling has another resource, Duars has another resource, Bakura has another resource, 24 program North and South has another resource, Calcutta and surrounding areas have another resources. So if we analyze the resources of Bengal, resources of India, we will find different types of resources. And this is very important for the policymakers to identify different types of resources, so they can take a good decision to develop different types of resources. But we cannot make Darjeeling as Kolkata or Kolkata as Murshidabad, Murshidabad as Mayapur, Mayapur as Mukutmanipur. Okay, so we have to identify different types of resources according to the geography, topography, the resources available to that particular area. Now, so in that way, researchers Nowadays, different researchers, they are working seriously. Particularly different universities, they are offering courses. Like my university is the only university in India or Eastern India offering masters in tourism and PhD in tourism, and we are getting students. So researchers, they are actively working for tourism development in different things. And this particular university is playing an important role. From 2000 onwards, this university is running successfully different tourism courses, the master's level and research level. Even foreigners, they are coming for researchers. Now, so not only the researchers, the business operators, now tour operators, travel agents, destination management organizations, or destination management corporations, they should have they should play an important role to market different resources available in our country, in a different district, different state, even different villages. So these resources, they can convert into product. They are playing, but we need much more sophisticated way of planning, marketing, execution, and implementation of tourism resources, so that we can get more number of tourists, more number of clients. So in that way, tourism can play an important role for Indian economy and India's development. So different resources are there, different literatures are there. In 1998, WTO, they reviewed 100 books and more than 250 articles on this particular STBT, Middleton and Hawkins, Fernandez and Rivero, and there are other aspects. There are other people, experts there. Now, so why this particular STBT? Now, performance improvement, creative thinking, keep space with science and technology, customers' expectation, cope with competitive markets, innovation, meeting quality standards. Now, so tourism assets. So tourism assets are different types. Now I will discuss the attractiveness, activity, sustainable infrastructure, linkage, and leakages. So in that way, tourism can be marketed, and this particular STBT can be developed according to rules. Now, benchmarking is the practice of being humble enough to admit that someone else is better, or something is wise enough to they, and they learn how to match, even surpass them on it. So someone may be superior. Suppose in terms of India's tourism development, India's tourism activities, India's tourism resources. Now there are certain countries, like advanced countries, they are much more developed in marketing, in promotion, in developing. But we have to learn different techniques from advanced countries, so that we can market our resources to the global market. And I hope that the Indian tourism, from my point of view, it's IT. IT stands for so many people, information technology. For me, it stands for Indian tourism. So this particular IT, Indian tourism, can bring economic development, can bring social and economic upliftment, and we can develop our country by marketing, by promoting tourism. And we can say, in the words of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, that welcome a tourist and send back a friend. Thank you very much. If any question, now it's open to the viewer and the audience.
Thank you, Professor Sofik. I would request Achal to take over.
Yes, sir.
And if there is any question, yeah. Achal, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, you are very well audible. So my question to Mr. Abdul Sofik is, so what are the leakages in India in sustainable tourism design?
Good question. Leakages. There are different international airlines, different international hotel chains. Now, international hotel chains and airlines and other corporations, when they hire people from abroad, so suppose British Airways or Lufthansa or Emirates, now they are working in India, but they are getting money from India. they're getting salary from India, like Hilton or this type of hotels. People are working, but the money is going to abroad. So in that way, it's a leakage. So we have to minimize this particular leakage. We have to maximize linkage. So the benefit, the tourism's economic benefit, can go to the grassroots level of our society, of our country, and as a whole, tourism can play an important role as tool for development. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Now we have our next speaker for today. And now I request Professor Nawab Ali Khan to kindly share his valuable views on the theme of sustainable tourism.
Thank you very much, Anchal.
Welcome, sir.
Bismillah, Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning to all the delegates and experts of the day. I'm honored today this morning for being invited as a speaker at this international conference on sustainable tourism in the wake of post-COVID economic revival. In fact, this is a very good theme. And first of all, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to you all for giving me an opportunity. Thanks to Dr. Pratush Nandi, Director of Field Touriosity Private Limited, Dr. Shafiq, Associate Professor, Department of Tourism, Burdwan University, and respected audience, attendees. I think Professor Shafiq has made my job very simple. I could and listen to his very dynamic words about the theme. In fact, I'm quite enlightened. And it will not be wrong to say, Dr. Shafiq, that you have made my job easy. In fact, I will not need to explain much about the theme. I will not need to explain much about the other aspects pertaining to the subject. But in short, as being a speaker today, I have few feelings to share with the audience. You all know very well that the impact of, because the main focus of this conference is on the post-COVID opportunities. I think we should link it with that aspect because from the 1st of September, this lockdown will be completely over in India. So in the light of this kind of changes which are taking place in India, let us just have a quick look at some aspects. We all know that the impact of the coronavirus is being felt by all businesses around the world, and the tourism sector is not an exception, but it is worst hit, as I can see, because most of the advices that these are coming are not that you don't eat this, you don't eat that, but are not to travel for the next 2 years. I am also following this advice from different corners. I'm guiding through WhatsApp that we should not travel. So this is the worst hit area. And you know, the leaders are navigating a broad range of interrelated issues that span from keeping their employees and customers safe, shoring up cash and liquidity, reorienting operations, and navigating complicated government support programs. And this pandemic 19 has affected the entire world. The whole world is now adapting to the new normal. We all have been reading it invariably through different sources, through newspapers, and we are listening on the television also, in news channels also. They have been. But now I think the time has come when all these discussions have reached to their brief, has reached to their maximum. And in fact, many industries, as you all know, have realized that the drawbacks of being exclusively dependent on manufacturing in a single country and are looking to expand the geographic spread of their facilities. India is also fast emerging as world manufacturing country. So is in case of the tourism sector also. Many countries are planning to start their tourism opportunities as early as possible because it is the biggest source of revenue for the government. And when it has stopped, many issues are likely to come up in the near future. Here, in the light of the discussion made by Professor Shafiq, I can say that sustainable tourism is a proven tool of development. It is benefiting communities and destinations around the world. As demand for global tourism continues to grow, the opportunities for sustainable development also increase. I mean, you can say that the awareness of sustainable tourism is a powerful and effective tool for development. It is meant for leveraging the momentum generated by the United Nations designing the year 2020 as the most important year. And I recall that in the year in earlier years also there have been a lot of focus on the sustainable tourism for development. And but more than 50 years after the World Bank financed its first tourism for development project in Morocco and Tunisia, I mean, a lot of efforts have been done for sustainable tourism development, and it is compelling one. Tourism is highly labor-intensive facilities. The development of new infrastructure helps helps in fund conservation, revitalizes modern and historic cities, and can contribute to the international understanding. Despite these benefits, tourism is most often viewed as a luxury for those who can afford it, rather than a kind of nimble development tool. You see, for example, take the case of the Hajj. Hajj, for example, is a pilgrimage for Muslims. I read somewhere that this Hajj has been categorized in three categories: for rich people, for middle class people, and for poor people. For rich people, it is a kind of trip. For the middle class people, it is a kind of destination for shopping, for marriages of their daughters and for their children. And for poor people, it is really ibadat. So it is a kind of thing that we all understand, which differs from person to person, place to place, localities to localities, region to region, religion to religion, in fact. But the sustainable tourism, which has been defined by Professor Shafi, is something that takes full account of its current and future economic, social, and environmental impact, addressing the need of the visitors, the industry, the environment, and the host communities. It has been defined by the UNWTO in 2016 also. So now, when it comes to linkages and leakages, these are two important aspects that I will throw some light on, and thereafter I will be jumping to a very important issue pertaining to the sustainable development of tourism, and which is going to help which is going to serve as a benchmarking tool also. So linkages, when it comes to linkages, we can see that tourism revenues for all the economies. It is biggest source of revenue for all the economies. One of the best ways to enhance economic benefit is to integrate tourism into national economy by establishing strong linkages between the tourism and other economic sectors, such as which are totally ignored, which people are not aware of. People sometimes don't understand that they can do this also. For example, if there is a linkage between the tourism with the agriculture, fisheries, manufacturing, and construction, it is going to play a big role in the development of the society, in the development of the tourism industry, in the development of these organizations, these industries on their own. So if the tourism sector makes use of products and services produced within the economy, it will definitely strengthen those sectors and provide additional income. The extent tourism is integrated in the national economy is captured by the multiplier effect of the tourism sector on the overall economy. That's all we know very well, actually. And sometimes we ignore this part. Sometimes we do not consider that this is going to be a very important aspect for giving a lot of contribution. So this is a linkage part. Professor Shafiq has already pointed out much into details thereof. I'm just taking shortcut here. And I will throw some light on the missed opportunities that is very important to take into consideration in the form of the leakages. So when linkages with the other sectors of domestic economy cannot be built, a significant part of the development potential stemming from tourism activities is lost. We all know very well. We should understand this fact. Leakages are badly defined as the loss of foreign exchange and other hidden costs deriving from tourism-related activities. But let me tell you one more thing here again, that this kind of linkages and leakages that we are sharing here are not going to be worthwhile during the current scenario, because these days, world over, the scenario is known to us, and we are what we are discussing is a kind of general activity. And we are looking forward that in the days to come, not years to come, things are going to take a normal shape, because even now, when you will be going outside in the market, you must be noticing that it doesn't appear that there has been any lockdown in the past. The people are not afraid of the coronavirus, because the fear, I personally feel, and I have observed also invariably in my visit to the market, that the fear is almost over. Nobody is afraid of the corona these days. That's what I feel. But we being the expert, we being the academicians, must not encourage this kind of tendency, because control is the most important thing that should be exercised by one and all. And leakages as I mentioned earlier, which are defined as the loss of foreign exchange and other hidden costs deriving from tourism-related activities. Not all leakages are unnecessary, as some costs cover crucial input to the tourism sector not available in the local economy. Leakages includes two main components that need to be taken into account to obtain a reliable approach on issues touching upon leakages effects. Internal leakages and external leakages. Internal leakages are losses due to tourism activities that originate in the economic space of the tourism service provider and also are paid and accounted for domestically. It most generally refers to the import coefficient of tourism or the proportion of the imported goods needed to be provided to the service. External leakages are also very important, and these originate outside the economic space of the tourism service provider and are not accounted for domestically. So what I feel here, that this is the kind of situation, which we can look into consideration before we go into the other aspects which are going to be very meaningful for sustainable tourism. You know, when we talk about the sustainable tourism development, we find that there are some aspects which are necessary to be counted. I came across a report and I found some good reasons that sustainable tourism counts for the development. And the author divided all this development into 45 categories. It was about the sustainable economic growth. It was about the resource efficiency and environmental protection and climate. It was about the social inclusiveness and environment. And it was about the poverty reduction. It was about the mutual understanding, peace, and security. I will be quickly throwing some light on these important aspects which are going to work as the most important component for the sustainable tourism benchmarking tool. It works as a sustainable tourism benchmarking tool. It will be the most significant aspect. It is already existing. So let us quickly have a look at these points, which I feel are very important for us to share with you, the audience. And in case you find that these are the aspects which we should think over. For example, let us take the case of the sustainable economic growth. Here, we all know that the sustainable tourism development stimulates GDP growth. Gross domestic product goes up. It increases international trade. It boosts international investment, and it also drives infrastructure development, and also it supports low-income economies. So you can assess in the light of these points that when it comes to sustainable economic growth, it has a big meaning. It has a big role, big support from the tourism sector. Tourism sector cannot be underestimated, cannot be ignored in the light of 1 minute, please. In the light of these points, another important aspect, which is having a direct linkage, which is having direct connectivity of the sustainable tourism benchmarking tool, is the social inclusiveness, employment, poverty reduction. I can assure you all that it is the sustainable tourism development that the issues which can become disastrous for economy can be solved to a very large extent. Like social inclusiveness, environment, employment, and the poverty reduction is basically connected to a very large extent with the tourism, sustainable tourism, because it creates jobs. In a country like India, where there is shortage of jobs, such kind of sustainable tourism will definitely create more employment opportunities. Apart from this, it will promote the inclusive growth. I don't need to tell you what is inclusive growth at this moment, because you all are educated, are learned people. I will be taking shortcut because time is already a constraint and I don't want to take others' time. I don't know, Anchal, please let me know how much time you have given to me, because I want to keep myself in the boundaries given to me.
So you still have 5 minutes with you.
Well, then 5 minutes, so I have to just quickly sum up. Another important thing is what sustainable tourism is doing with the rural communities. Rural communities, not only rural communities which are strengthened by the sustainable tourism, because there are many people who would like to visit to the rural areas also. At the same time, it revitalizes the urban areas as well. and it improves the access to income via travel technology. And I tell you, the benefits which the women get from the sustainable tourism is much more higher than the benefits which is taken by the males, because they they are the biggest beneficiary almost in all the countries of the world. And apart from this, tourism bolsters the artisans, and this is the social contribution of the tourism after the sustainable economic growth. The other things which need to take into consideration are the resources, resource efficiency, environmental protection, and the climate. This is a very important aspect which we should not ignore. So in case of the resource efficiency, environment protection, we find that the tourism, sustainable tourism facilitates conservation. It raises climate changes awareness. It propels the blue economy. You see, I recall, I mean, if you go to Delhi, you find that Delhi is not the same Delhi it was 30 years ago. If you compare Delhi with the Delhi which was 30 years back, it is totally different. Queen Elizabeth came to India and she went to Pakistan, and later on she gave a statement that Karachi looks better. You know, after that statement given by Queen Elizabeth, in Delhi there has been rampant development. Delhi is now world-class city. You can see it is because of some views which come. So changes take place when tourists come in the form of any kind of visit or by virtue of leisure or trip or any kind of excursion. You know, these are very important things. Apart from this, one more thing is there, that is the cultural values, diversity and heritages are, to take into consideration in the light of the sustainable tourism, because sustainable tourism protects the cultural sides. It sustains intangible culture. In all cities where there are historical monuments, these are maintained. You know why? Sustainable tourism is the source, is the reason, because it brings back the glory of the past. In a lot of in India has been ruled by the kings in the past. So kings have left their legacies in the form of a number of monuments in the country. So that is the kind of direct connectivity with the sustainable tourism. You can link it. And lastly, last words about the sustainable tourism development is the mutual understanding, peace and security. You see, this spreads philanthropy. It cultivates intercultural understanding. It aids post-conflict recovery. You can see, as a whole, the sustainable tourism development is the most important thing which we can see in the light of these points. And these reasons actually are there. These are reasons for sustainable tourism counts for the tourism destinations. People who live there and travelers, they can understand that how things are going to be meaningful, how things are going to be very important. So these were a few words, these were a few observations from my side. After listening to Professor Shafiq, I thought that I must skip those aspects which are already covered. So I believe that my point is clear. In case there is some query from the audience, I'm here to give you some kind of information to discuss further. Though the points are self-explanatory, but even then, I'm here available for discussion.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing your inputs. Sir, I have one question for you. Like you just mentioned in your session that, the sustainable tourism will generate employment opportunities in near future. And since we have a good student base who are connected with us in this conference, so I would like you to please throw some light on what kind of employment opportunities, can we expect in future to open up for the youth?
Look here, actually, what is the situation? The moment this kind of scenario will be over, in the near future, you will find people these days are tied up in their homes. You see, nowadays the tourism sector has shrinked. This shrinkness will go away once people, as I told you earlier also, that the fear of corona has gone. So I am looking forward that in the days to come, maybe in 3-4 months, life will be just normal. So people who are caged these days, people I will call, they are caged in their homes, old people, children, or they have forgotten that there's anything called tourism, there's anything called outing. So once they will be allowed to go outside, employment is surely going to be large. A lot of opportunities in different sectors of tourism linked with tourism will be opened in hotel industry, in the destination tourism, in the branding, and all areas will be opened for the job seekers. And this is a temporary phase. I also tell my students here that it is not a permanent kind of situation. Nothing is permanent in this world. It is just short-lived. Tourism is a very large, big job space provider, because it provides millions to I read somewhere, it provides 292 million people worldwide, which means that every 10 jobs are related to tourism. You see, these days the jobs are, those jobs which are attributable to the tourism sector, these have doubled over a period of time. So there is some constraint these days, but I'm looking forward that things will be just normal, and plenty of direct job opportunities will be available, because tourism industry is a labor intensive industry and traditionally has made up of small and micro enterprises. Some people can start their own ventures, some can join jobs somewhere.
Thank you so much, sir, for addressing this question. Now I request our third speaker of this session, Mr. R.K. Suman, who is guest of honor of ICST 2020, to kindly take up this session. Mr. R.K. Suman is the Deputy Director General at Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Sir, we welcome you on board.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good morning to all the speakers, Dr. Shofik, Dr. Khan, Dr. Nandi, and Dr. Rupanjana. I am very glad to have attending this session, because the first thing started last year. It was actually very interesting and successful, and of course it was you can say it was my initiative which did all these things by Dr. Nandi. Of course, he is the person who is executing all the things, but of course the ideas came from my side, and he did all these things. And due to COVID, we are not able to do it physically. Of course, he took the initiative to make it possible online. So, congratulations to Touriosity.
Mr. Suman, I would like to just interrupt and thank you officially for being with us every time. And of course, this was conceived by you, and you encouraged us, and you are with us. So we are very lucky to have you this time as well. So welcome to this year's edition.
Yeah, thank you. So, of course, sometimes we need to do such things to encourage the industry and encourage the people and to gather the people. So this platform has created a very big initiative, because academicians, industry, the students and all have collaborated together. Although I know that Touriosity is a magazine, a tourist magazine, but still the outcome what I achieved last time and the overwhelming response I am seeing now also, it encourages me also that yeah, they should do better and better. Hope next year I think it will be much better. Anyway, so coming on the sustainable tourism points, I could hear from Dr. Khan. He talked a lot about the aspects, leakage and linkages of tourism. Currently the situation due to COVID, everybody is aware that tourism is the worst affected industry. Of course, it is in the phase of recouping now, because now the hotels have been allowed to operate. Tour operators, of course, have lost their business, but now they are gearing up how they can operate post-COVID. Situation is not that good, I can say, because I will not talk optimistic much in the ministry and being in the touch of the travel trade society and operators. The situation has been very adverse. But as Dr. Khan said, everything is temporary and we will come up. There is no doubt at all. We will come up from this adversity also and we will prove what we are. And of course, India being a vast country, lot of resources, the products very well. There will be some time, it will take some time for foreign tourists to come or they will start traveling to other countries. But we have a huge domestic tourist and that is our main focus. Of course, we earn millions of foreign exchange earning by the foreign tourists. We received 10.5 million foreign tourists in 2019 and around 15 million of international tourists. But of course, this year the things are very difficult and we are going in the right direction so that we can overcome very quickly. So the domestic tourism will be the first to move forward and that will create the awareness, and certainly when the domestic tourists start moving, the foreign tourists will also start coming. Now, how the tourism is going to sustain post-COVID? Certainly, there will be some hiccups. There will be some situations where it will not be that much easy. But yes, it will come out of this adversity and tourism will flourish as it was and even much better in 2021 and beyond. So tourism is a non-polluting industry. It is a large revenue generator, foreign earning generator, and of course, one of the 10 employment is generated by the tourism sector directly or indirectly. So this sustainability has to be continued with, especially with the participation of local people. The more we involve the local people, the tourism will be sustainable for longer time. We have to create awareness among the locals. They need to be tourism friendly. If you take the example of Kerala and Goa, how the people are tourism friendly. And that is the reason they have grown the tourism leaps and bounds. So there are various aspects that can help us to keep the tourism sustainable. Further, if we link all the things in tourism that, for example, if we include the ecotourism, adventure tourism, we can include the other aspects of tourism like very less traveled areas, medical tourism, wellness tourism. So these all things combined together and make a successful tourism, and that is the way the tourism can be sustainable. Now new initiatives are coming. Now the things are opening up, like the ministry has started this opening of the guides, like they will be called as a tourism facilitator and anyone can do this course. This is an online course and very easily. So this will give an opportunity for everybody to connect with the tourism, those who want to be in the field, freelance or full-time or whatever they like. The other aspects like development of infrastructure, that is the, you can say, that we need to improve all the things, infrastructure and facilities. So government is taking all the efforts gradually, like the schemes of Swadesh Darshan and Prasad. These are the two schemes launched after the 2014, and the basic aim of these two schemes were to keep the upkeeping and creating the new infrastructure and facility at the tourist destinations. Lot of things are going on, basically in all the sectors. Now the Incredible India 2.0 has already been launched. The new things are coming up, new advertisements, new things, new ideas are coming up. So we have to include all these aspects and link together to make the tourism sustainable. Uh, Further, I would like to add that the internationally our reputation is very high, and we have to keep this all aspects together, and certainly we need to do much and more marketing and promotions domestically and internationally, so that the tourism industry as well as the tourism service providers all come together, all the stakeholders of tourism come together and work towards the development of tourism sector. You know that tourism does not belong to one ministry or one person. It belongs to everybody, because it gives earning to a lower person to a higher person, maybe a hotelier and even a pawn shop owner or a taxi driver. Everybody is getting the share of this revenue. So it is a comprehensive industry and creates lot of opportunities for everybody, whether he is a skilled, non-skilled, or even highly skilled. And more importantly, now the lot of women are interested in tourism sector, and they are joining the sector in different fields, maybe in the media or guiding, or even of course hospitality sectors. So at last, I wish how far we are going to come out from this pandemic situation. It will be till these vaccines are readily available to all the citizens. It will be a little situation like that. Gradually the things will improve and the things will start, and of course tourism will flourish as it was and even much better. And lastly, I again thank you all the speakers and all the organizers on my behalf. And of course, because it is a working day for me, I will not take much of time, and I may join again for another session anytime if required. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, our participants have one question for you. I would like you to answer that. And the question is, what are the government priorities in sustainable tourism?
See, the priorities have been to develop the infrastructure, to create awareness, to create employment, to create the skill development. Like we have the IHMs, we have IITTMs, we have state IHM and other institutes where even the short courses have been started, and these all efforts comes together and makes the tourism sustainable. Of course, there are many things currently going to happen to overcome this COVID situation that is still under consideration going on. So certainly we are working on that also, and that will help the tourism to be sustainable.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I have one question for Professor Nawab Ali Khan. Sir, one of the participants has a question for you, that how with the passage of time, the tourism industry is going to rejuvenate further. Though you touched this topic a bit in your speech, but I would like to know if you have any further points to add on the same. Sir, your mic is off.
No, you muted me. इस पे किसी शायर का एक शेर मैं याद दिलाऊं आपको. किसी शायर ने कहा है कि काट कर जुबान मेरी कह रहा है जालिम, अब तुम्हें इजाजत है हाले दिल सुनाने की. I think you know Hindi, or you know?
Yes, yes, definitely, sir.
So you muted me, and you are asking me
No,
to
no, no, sir,
reply
I didn't
query.
mute
Okay.
you.
Mr. R.K. Sumanji, namaskar. We could not greet in the morning. This, as you have already pointed out, there's in the near future, we are the people who are optimistic by nature. We Indians are highly optimistic by nature, and you already pointed out that very soon things will be normal, efforts are being made. I mean, this is not going to last longer. So the sector which is quite is biggest sufferer these days, as compared to others, will be regenerating, and things will be totally different. Not only the job opportunities will be there, but people will be having a normal life also. People who are stranded these days, like you see, for example, take my case. So there has been hardly any week that I don't go outside. So in a month, I travel 3 or 4 times. But these 6 months are there. After I came in the month of March, I did not go anywhere, and I don't intend. So what I'm looking forward, but there's a lot of enthusiasm in the people, and the people are just ready. So once they will be going outside, employment opportunity will be abundant in abundance. Jobs are already there. You see, in the other sectors right now, what we find, everything is normal. All businesses are normal. All aspects are normal, except a few. Tourism is the only one of the few sectors which are not operating. Once things are normal, because these things are not predictable. We cannot predict that how and when it will be possible, that we will be going outside and jobs will be there. So almost all industries are hit badly in the past. Things are recovering, and tourism sector will also recover. And with the recovery of tourism sector, we will find that everything will be perfectly fine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. One last question for Mr. Abdul Sohpe. Sir, the participants want to know that apart from generating employment, how in India and across the world we can cover the losses that tourism industry and hospitality sector have faced on account of the COVID. Mr. Sofik, are you able to hear me?
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. The question is how we can expect the hospitality sector and the tourism industry to recover the losses in the coming time. It's okay, like we are thinking of generating more employments in this sector, but the 5 to 6 month losses, the heavy losses that this industry has gone through. So according to you, what measures can we see in near future to overcome this problem?
Okay, it's a good question. Now, loss, whatever made by the travel organizers, travel traders, it's very difficult to get the recovery, but it will take time when industry will reopen. Now we have to chalk out a new plan. First, we have to highlight domestic tourism movement, and then we can highlight much more inbound business from the countries where we can expect more tourists. Like we can expect tourists from America because we have a very good tie-up. We can expect tourists from UK, France, Germany, Spain, and other European countries. Now we have to target high spending tourists. So high spending tourists, they can spend more. They can spend on Indian tourism, and particularly different items and handicrafts. And then third and final is that tourism entrepreneurs, they have to discuss with different travel trade organizations and Ministry of Tourism and Finance Ministry, so that they can request the competent authority of our government, particularly central government and respective state governments, to get some financial package. As we know that our Honorable Prime Minister and Finance Minister has declared different types of package for different sector. So I hope that industry, trade associations, tour operators and tourism entrepreneurs, they will make an effort for a package so that they can minimize their losses.
so much, sir. So with this, we conclude our first session of ICST 2020. I would personally like to thank each one of you for throwing the light on this theme in such a precise manner, for devoting your valuable time, and for answering the questions in such a lucid manner that I believe that all the participants have got their answers, have got their questions addressed. So once again, a very thanks to all of you, and looking forward to the next session at 11:30. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Nawab Ali.
Thank
After
you.
a
Thank
long
you
time,
very
I saw
much.
Professor Nawab Ali.
Dr. Shafiq, I will call you on phone. Please. Okay.
Thank you
Well,
very much.
definitely.
I have a
I
word
will.
for all the participants. Thanks to the speakers, I have a word for the participants. Our next session on sustainable development with 3 eminent speakers starts at 11:30. I would request all of you to maybe just take a break, a little break. Join us again at 11:25 for the next session. If this would have been, physical mode, we probably would have served tea. Unfortunately, we cannot serve tea now. So
It is due.
maybe
It is
just
due.
get your own
It
tea
is.
and
It is
join
due.
us with a
It
cup
is
of
due.
tea. So thank you so much, and see you again at 11:25.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
तुम्हें संस्कार नाम का चीज है कि नहीं? अरे कॉन्फ्रेंस चल रही है भाई. अरे यार.